Guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Bobby, and today we're going to go through some Am I the Asshole stories capped off by one long petty revenge story. So please, before we get into it, do not forget to drop a like on this video. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and let me know how the audio is today because I am using a different mic, trying to figure out some of these audio issues I've been having. So if you notice a difference, just let me know. Let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into the assholes. Am I the asshole for leaving the restaurant even though my daughter in law hadn't finished eating? I, 58 female, invited everyone in my family out for dinner at a nice restaurant for my husband's 60th birthday. I told everyone about the event a month ago. The guest list also included my daughter, Sarah, 24, and her wife, Elizabeth, 28. Elizabeth works in a demanding, stressful, but well compensated corporate position. She does have a tendency to overwork herself. Unsurprisingly, she was late to the dinner. Sarah said Beth had cleared her schedule for the day, but there was last minute issue and she had to leave for work. Elizabeth made it while everyone else was starting dessert. She apologized, gave us a fancy bottle of wine as a gift, and sat down. We were all done and ready to go, but Elizabeth hadn't fully eaten yet. It was getting late, so as people started leaving, my husband and I also decided to leave as it was getting late. You said that. We didn't wait for Elizabeth to finish her dinner. The next day, I got a call from Sarah saying it was not okay for us to just leave them by themselves like that. I explained and said that it was getting late, but she insists we should have stayed. I may be an asshole here when I said maybe she needs to take off her rose colored glasses about Elizabeth. She got upset and hung up the phone. Was I an asshole? Before I hop into the comments, I'm going to say that based on what I've learned just now, that yeah, you were an asshole. But let's see what everybody else thinks. Traditional Yam says not the asshole. After the group has eaten the main course, a late arrival has effectively missed dinner and should not expect to order and eat. It was pushy and rude of Elizabeth to expect to eat, let alone have anyone wait for her. Someone in a high corporate position should know that and treat her in laws better. I don't agree with that. I think that Elizabeth is not the one yelling at the mom. It's Sarah, the mom's daughter. OP's daughter is the one yelling at her, not Elizabeth. So there's nowhere that says Elizabeth was doing anything wrong except she got off of work late. Somebody else said, OP, I think that your last comment about Elizabeth was out of line and you likely owe your daughter an apology at minimum, but ideally a full explanation as to what you meant by that comment. And I'm pretty sure they're referring to the rose colored glasses one because there was absolutely no context with that statement. So I also would be curious to know what she meant by that. Somebody else says, I'm in insurance and just stepped into management. If I tell a client I can't handle their claim as it's outside business hours, I'd be fired. Quote, sorry, your business is on fire. I've got dinner. Can't help. Somebody else said, hell, my husband works at an automotive manufacturing plant. While he is a supervisor, he's by no means corporate. He is expected to respond to emails, phone calls, and even go in 24/7. They run around the clock. He had to work Thanksgiving. My parents made sure to pack him tons of food because they respect him as a member of the family because he's my husband. OP sucks. Yeah, there's a lot of comments addressing the what the hell did OP mean by the rose colored glasses comment. The world may never know. Tell me what you guys think about this. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter she needs to start dressing appropriately? I'm 35 female. My daughter is 14. Her father passed away when she was 2, and I remained single up until 2 years ago when I started dating Matt. He is 46 and has a 19-year-old son named Chris. They moved in with us 2 months ago. Chris is in college full time and stays at my place because it's super close to campus. Really good kid, super respectful. And the issue? My daughter very obviously has a crush on him. Since Matt and Chris moved in, my daughter started dressing really inappropriately at home. I'm not talking about revealing clothing. I couldn't care less if she wore short shorts or whatever around the house. It's a lack of clothing that is the issue. She never did this prior to them moving in, but now, whenever Chris is home, She will come out in literally nothing but her bra and underwear. She wears girls' boxers, so it's not a super big deal, but it's absolutely become a problem. The boys don't even pay attention to her, but I see what she's doing and it bothers me because she literally only does it when she knows Chris is home. Like this morning, Chris had late classes and it's her school vacation. She came out in her normal pajamas originally, saw Chris sitting at the table on his laptop. She announced she's taking a shower, comes out 30 minutes later in her bra and underwear with a flannel unbuttoned over it and says, "Hey, Chris, what are you doing?" and sits down beside him. I immediately told her to come talk to me in my bedroom, and it was at this point I told her from this point forward she wasn't allowed to leave her bedroom unless she was properly dressed. She asked, "Why do I have to put on clothes when this is my home and I should be able to be comfortable?" So I was blunt and said, "Because the only time you seem to give a damn about your so called comfort clothing is when Chris is here. Go put some clothes on." She stormed off to her room and slammed the door and didn't come out again. Now, I've literally spoken to her about this at least 4 other times because it just keeps getting worse. And she keeps putting on less and less clothing. I've asked her straight up if she had a crush on Chris, and her face goes beet red while saying, "Ew, gross, no." But it's obvious either way. I'm not blind. I also made a point to tell her she needs to think about how much trouble she could get in with older guys by making advances she is, but of course she gets angry that I'm, quote, accusing her of being a slut. I never said that. I think she's a normal, hormonal teenager trying to get guys' attention. Either way, she's pissed, and she texted my mother, who is now calling me and saying I'm wrong for making my daughter feel like her comfort doesn't matter over a guy and his son who aren't family. Am I the asshole? No, you're not the asshole. You are trying to protect your daughter. Could you have worded your conversation differently or timed it better? Yeah, but parenting is kind of a trial by fire type of situation, especially if she's your first or only child. But let's see what the comments have to say. Not the asshole, but I would have a real issue with her trying to drag your mother into this. Mother needs to be told to butt out. Daughter needs to know trying to get your mother on her side will not work. Somebody else says also OP's mother is not getting the truth. This was never about prioritizing the outsiders over her daughter's comfort. OP, does your mother listen to you? Would you be able to explain that your daughter does not wear this unless the boy is around? She either needs to be on your side on this or she needs to stop trying to step in when it is inappropriate. Somebody said, for real, she's a literal fucking minor. Like, that's jail right there. Jail. OP, talk to your partner, and then you both talk to Chris. Have a family meeting. Have Chris tell your daughter he's not interested in seeing her dressed inappropriately at home. It's his home too now, and it makes him uncomfortable. We don't know that. This is not a good idea. Whoever Drive Bet 1752 is, this is not a good idea. This is bad in so many ways. First of all, sure, talk to your partner about it in private if you want, but don't bring Chris into it. Has he said that he's uncomfortable? Has he exhibited any signs that he's uncomfortable? Because that was not explained in the post. All you're going to do is humiliate your daughter further and also humiliate Chris and probably create tension between the two of them in the house. Yeah, that's a really bad idea. And somebody else even responded, "No, do not put him in the position to deal with something that parents should be dealing with. He is also a kid, and that is not his responsibility." I mean, he's technically an adult, he's 19, but that's a really, really young adult. Not the asshole. Why do I have to put on my clothes when this is my home and I should be able to be comfortable? As you've obviously sussed out, she's not dressing that way to be comfortable. She's dressing that way to provoke a reaction. Yeah. Overall, OP, I don't think you're the asshole for, again, protecting your daughter against something that she doesn't even know that she might be getting herself into. That doesn't make you the asshole. Again, probably could have timed it better and could have worded it better. I don't think you should drag your husband or your stepson into this. I think that, having a calm, private conversation with your daughter would be the best way to go about this. And you have to understand that 14 is a very hormonal age. Surely you already know this. Teenagers are not logical. Take it from me, I have a teenager. I don't have a teenage girl, but I do have a teenage boy, and sometimes they're just not logical at all. They know everything. You can't tell them nothing. So you're not the asshole, but use this as a lesson, I guess, to have better conversations with your daughter, I suppose. What do you guys think? Am I the asshole for breaking off my engagement because of a cancer diagnosis? I was engaged to my boyfriend of 2 years. Unfortunately, I recently discovered that he has brain cancer. I was going through his boxes because we switched homes and found the diagnosis in his stuff. Neither him nor his family told me he had cancer and was undergoing treatment for it. I felt very betrayed. I confronted him about this. He broke down crying. I asked him why he never told me. He said he didn't, quote, trust me. I asked him what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but he dodged the question and told me he was very, very sorry for keeping it from me. But I decided to break off the entire engagement and dump him because he kept this secret from me. He's been begging me to come back. His family have been trying their level best to convince me to go back to him, but I don't want to be with him anymore. It's not about the cancer. It's that he felt the need to keep such a huge thing from me. I thought there was mutual trust in our relationship, but there wasn't, clearly. He's saying that he loves me and that he wants to spend the life he's got left with me, but I don't want to be with him anymore. Am I the asshole? Croissantal says, not the asshole. The title is more appropriately, quote, am I the asshole for breaking off my engagement because my fiance doesn't trust me? The cancer was just the subject, but the underlying issue is that he couldn't tell his partner very significant information that will affect both of you. That literally sums up everything. And the entire comment section is saying the exact same thing, so I'm not going to read a bunch of them. But yeah, the problem isn't that he has cancer. The problem is that he lied, for one, and then his excuse is he couldn't trust you. Why couldn't he trust you? I don't have anything else to say about this. You're not the asshole, OP. Would I be the asshole if I decided to leave my husband after being married for close to 3 years? So, first time posting on Reddit, so kind of nervous. This will be a long post. Just want to say from the beginning that I'm Muslim, so therefore, in my religion, the man is the breadwinner and takes care of all financial expenses and obligations. The issue is finances, and it always has been finances. When we first got married, everything went smoothly and life was generally happy being a newlywed. A month or so after, he received a phone call in my presence. I was informed that it was his aunt who he borrowed a large sum of money from for our wedding. I was shocked and so upset because he lied to me about not having debts whilst being married. And then further on, he said he forgot that he borrowed the money from her. After communicating about how upset I was, he finally admitted that he never learned how to save and be financially responsible. After that, I took over all the expenses and managed it where we were comfortably paying rent, finally have a savings. I found out he was living paycheck to paycheck with no real savings to his name and paying back all the loans he took. Now, fast forward into the present, I got to find out only because he was overwhelmed that he was owing the equivalent to 2,000 US dollars. Might not sound like much, but in my country, the conversion is a lot. When I tried to figure out how and why he made stupid investments with money he secretly borrowed, it makes me so upset and sick to my stomach because it was not the first or second time I bailed him out financial wise. Next, he quit his job. At this time, I had a savings going from when I used to work. When he quit, he barely had any money to his name, and with rent and food, we didn't have much to go on. Anytime I would ask him about finances and savings, etc., he would say he had savings and we have enough money to go on, which was a lie. I started chipping in for bills, groceries, etc. for some time. Recently, I was going through my wallet and noticed a lot of my cash missing. When I brought it up, he admitted to taking it only because he needed it and said, "Don't worry, when he has money, he will give it back to me." He rarely gives me back anything though. My birthday was also a couple days ago. He baked a cake for me, which was extremely sweet. By the way, before marriage, he never showed me that he was this type of person. I kept staying, hoping something will change, but it never really does. Continuing on from my birthday, he had to run some errands and asked me to come with him so we could at least spend some time together. We were about 2 hours from home, and somehow the vehicle shut down and needed to be towed. When I asked him if he had money on him, he only had the equivalent of 3 US dollars on him. Anyway, someone who knew me saw us on the side of the road and asked if I wanted to be taken home
since it would take hours before a tow truck came. I ended up leaving him with all the money I had on me, approximately 70 US dollars. I waited for him to reach home and he came back with fast food. When I asked him for my money back, he gave me extremely short. I'm not really sure what that means. Like, was he short with her or did he give her back a sum that was extremely short of what she gave him? Not sure. It's not very clear. When I asked him what happened, he said he brought food for him and his brother, that I should not study it because he will give me back the money. This is clearly written by a non-English speaker, as a first non-English as a first language speaker, which is fine. You're doing great. It's just taking a minute for me to get through it. To make it worse, this is my birthday, and all my husband brought me was fast food, which consisted of half a sandwich that he already ate. I'm so tired of it. So therefore, am I the asshole if I leave him, or should I stay and try? Optimist Prime says, what is there to work on? This man has proven that you're not a match financially. He says he's going to try, which means absolutely nothing, and has no action plan in place to bring more money in or pay off his debts. If he can't be trusted as a partner, the relationship is broken already. Not the asshole. Leave before his debts become your debts and he ruins your credit. I would also double check your own credit and lock it down just in case. I don't know how credit works in other countries. As far as I know, the US is like, I'm not going to get into that. I just don't know how credit works in other countries. Team Naked said, finances were a major problem in my marriage. She was very frugal coming in, but was spending nonstop once we got married. Her job didn't pay well, and I was making over six figures. I went from saving money to wondering how we would pay the mortgage. Nothing got her to change, and she would go crazy when it's being it up. When it probably meant when I brought it up. If he won't change after 3 years, he's not going to bother. OP responded and said, what you wrote makes sense. It's just so complicated. However, I forgot to add that he recently got a job, minimum wage. But I have to give him money to travel to and from because he doesn't have any until he is paid. He has his own side business, but it's so slow currently. And Maria responds, it will always be slow. Money Prank says, run. This will be your life forever if you stay with this man. Do you want your kids to grow up wondering if there's money for food? Yeah, so everybody seems to be on OP's side, which makes sense because OP is being taken advantage of in a very sad way here. I have been in this situation before and it ruined my life for a really long time, and I would hate to see the same thing happen to OP. So I have to agree with the commenters here. Get out of there. Take care of yourself. This man is a grown man and he needs to learn how to be a grown man before he is grown enough to be in a grown up relationship. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about it. Let me know what you think.
And next we have some office drama from r/Am I Wrong? Am I wrong for putting peanuts in my food and not putting an allergen label on it, knowing that the food thief is allergic? So, my office recently got a new hire, Omar. He's a young Muslim guy, fresh out of college, and ever since he was onboarded, my food has been going missing. I mention his religion because I'm also Muslim and it's hard to find halal food on short notice, and it's been really difficult not having food to eat because it's been stolen. My theory is that he stole my food because I'm the only one obviously Muslim in the office. I wear a hijab and have mentioned going to mosque. He knows that my food is okay to eat. I've tried talking to him about this, but he always plays dumb and denies knowing anything about my missing meals. As the title says, Omar is allergic to peanuts. On Friday, I brought leftovers, which included peanuts. I made sure to label the package clearly with my name, but I didn't think to include any label about it having peanuts in it. No one else in the office uses allergen labels for their food, so it didn't even cross my mind. When I got to the fridge and realized my food was once again missing, I rushed to Omar's desk, where I, of course, found him eating my food. I told him that the lunch that he stole had peanuts in it. His eyes got really wide and he went for his EpiPen, and thank goodness he injected himself before the reaction got really bad. After Omar got done panicking about his reaction, he blew up at me. He said that I could have killed him, and I said that he wouldn't have been in danger if he wasn't a liar and a thief. He told me that it was my fault for not putting an allergen label on the packaging, and I said that I'm lactose intolerant, but don't expect everyone else to put labels on their dairy because I don't steal other people's food. He said that that's different because milk won't kill me. And I said it was the same principle. HR has ruled in my favor, but now requires allergen labels on all foods, and the entire office is mad at me. Not just for the inconvenience of the labels, but because I, quote, targeted Omar and, quote, tried to kill him. Now I feel bad. Am I in the wrong here? Holy crap. Omar is pretty fucking entitled, isn't he? Let's see what the comment says. No underscore astronauts 2795 says, what the fuck? Your office is absurd. The kid stole food repeatedly and it caught up with him. Unless it's a shared food and a shared lunch, I don't understand why your personal lunch needs to be labeled. Just because it's stored in a shared place doesn't mean it's a damn free for all. Keep a private cooler bag to store your lunches if that makes you feel better. Yeah, I mean, could he not taste that there's peanuts in the food? Whenever I've had any food with peanuts, you definitely taste the peanut influence in the food. I understand that he's pissed because EpiPens are very expensive. And yeah, he could have gotten really hurt, but it's his own fault. He stole the food. He stole somebody else's food, and she caught him red-handed, and he's pissed at her. Give me a fucking break. Somebody said, I've always thought HR not punishing food thieves is really stupid. It's bad for morale, and if you're willing to steal from your coworkers, you're more likely to be willing to steal from your employer. And somebody else says, and somehow HR always seems to punish the person whose food was being stolen. OP is not the asshole. Maybe going forward, OP should label their lunch as having peanuts in it. Although, with the poor reaction from HR so far on the matter, sounds like this guy would make a complaint with HR that he can no longer eat OP's lunch. In a way, HR kind of stepped in it. OP was targeted for this theft due to OP's religion. That kind of sounds like discrimination to me. Somebody else said, I did just that and was told, oh, somebody said you should make a complaint. And this person said, I did just that and was told just to bring enough for two people since a desperate situation must drive a colleague that earns more than twice my salary to steal my lunch. That's fucking ridiculous. Everyone's taken the if someone steals from you, you didn't eat it anyway pill, and it's insane. I had to stop watching two separate YouTubers over it. Did you ask the HR person if the response would be the same if their lunch was being stolen? Or perhaps if the company's money was being stolen? How desperate would an employee have to be before the company would look the other way about that employee stealing company funds? Or can we all agree that property rights exist and theft is illegal? If they're so worried about hungry employees, they're more than welcome to feed everyone, but turning you into mommy to thief is insane. Yeah, OP, you're not the asshole. Eat your fucking peanuts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's end today off with a fairly long petty revenge story. My female 19 boyfriend, male 24, wasted 2 hours of my day, so I wasted an hour of his and made him cry. TLDR, my boyfriend hasn't respected my time in the past, so this time, after he wasted 2 hours of my day for the second day in a row by showering, I wasted an hour of his day and made him cry. Background: my ex boyfriend is very dedicated to public service slash volunteering and a hard worker. On top of his crazy schedule, he also has a very built physique and is very dedicated to the gym. I found his ability to work hard, take care of his body, all while helping others admirable and physically attractive. A guy that does volunteering and aims to work in public service should be a good guy, right? I often found myself feeling like he never respected my time. He would ask to come over on days where I had classes the next morning. He admitted into pressuring me into sexual activity. Every time I confronted him with my feelings, he would always say, I'm sorry you feel that way. He said I was ignoring him if I didn't respond to his messages or calls quickly, even if my phone was away. In the past, I was too clingy because I would message him, quote, too much, and was too demanding by expecting him to take 3 seconds out of his day to message me good morning back. He forgot to get me a Valentine's gift as he had no time, so he gave me a cheap, expired chocolate bar from his car. Eventually, he apologized because he didn't know it meant that much to me and bought me 2 Sour Patch Candies and a protein drink. All I asked for was a handwritten note from him. Story: Yesterday, I slept over at his place. We showered separately. I took 20 minutes. He took well over an hour. I had to keep knocking on his door to get him to hurry up as we had plans. He took his sweet time as showering was his quote alone time, and we missed our date plans as he had to go to the gym. Today, I slept over again. I tried waking him up earlier so we wouldn't miss our rescheduled date. He took 2 hours in the shower, and I couldn't go upstairs to knock on the door as his parents were walking around. We haven't met yet. So I had to spend almost 2 hours confined in his room. 1 hour in, I texted and called him, informing him of the time. He had his phone in the shower and said he would hurry up. Half an hour later, he was still in the shower. Another 30 minutes, and he was finally getting dressed. We no longer had time for our date again, so he was going to drop me back as he was getting late for the gym. He seemed surprised that I was angry at him. He said I was exaggerating 2 hours, but I remember the time and I even sent him time reminders over text. I was fuming in the car and I told him to skip the gym as wasting 2 hours of my time, second day in a row, was unacceptable. He said that the shower was his me time and he really needed it. He also said he couldn't miss the gym as he had to get bigger. I asked him if the gym was more important than me, and he said we could simply reschedule our date for tomorrow. Eventually, we reached my apartment. He told me to go inside and we would call and talk about my angry feelings. I refused to leave. I told him that he wasted 2 hours of my day, so I would waste an hour of his, and he would have to skip the gym. So I stayed in his car for an hour. He tried to leave, but I raised my voice at him. I told him he was selfish and had no respect for others' time and that it was unacceptable. I'd never raised my voice at him before or done anything vengeful, so he was startled. He disagreed and repeated he was a good person that respected others' time. He said he simply wasn't aware of the time, but I responded with the fact that he even had his phone and you can check the time there. He said he lost track of time. But then I told him I even called and texted the time. He went quiet and started crying, pouting, and stomping his legs. He kept repeating, I've never felt this way. I feel so claustrophobic. I want to go to the gym. Please let it go. I refused. I said if he's feeling claustrophobic, then he could take a walk around the area, but I wouldn't leave the car for another hour. I also told him he wouldn't be late for work, so he wouldn't die skipping the gym for one day. He cried and said he already missed half his gym time yesterday, and I told him it was his own fault due to his poor use of time. He continued sitting there, pouting and crossing his arms, sniffling and stomping his feet into the footwell. 40 minutes in, he said, So you really want it to end this way? I said I was fed up with his behavior, so I was fine either way. He continued crossing his arms and pouting while refusing to apologize. Eventually, I got out of the car and went upstairs while he drove off. I haven't messaged him all day, and he hasn't messaged me either. This guy was my first real boyfriend, my first kiss, my first everything. We've been dating for over 4 months. I don't know if it's right to throw everything away like this, but I also don't really care. I feel so happy with my small victory. Edit. FYI, he is not on steroids. Also, here, the hot water doesn't run out. By the way, yes, I dumped him. Update. He saw the post, spammed me with calls, excuses, apologies for hours. Eventually, I picked up. He said, Well, a sub about petty revenge is bound to attract a certain audience. I also did another petty revenge against him. I downloaded a dating app a few hours after we broke up to shove it in his face. Swiped as much as I could and had 200 plus likes on my profile after 20 hours. Only matched with two guys though, so I did the most bare bones icebreaker. Nothing else. Obviously, I'm not going to hop into a new relationship anytime soon, don't worry. Don't even remember their names. But my ex is pissed and says I cheated on him, lol. He said he felt sick and threw up. Now he's trying to bribe me back into the relationship with a brand new Nintendo Switch. Says he's a bad person, hurt me a lot, won't do it again, yada yada. Is also repeating the claim that I am a cheater, even though we broke up yesterday, lol. Also, he vehemently denies ever cheating on me. There is so much to unpack here. First of all, 2 hours in the shower, you have to be kidding me. I had an ex who took forever to do anything, and an hour in the shower was even pushing it for him. This guy, 2 freaking hours, that's insane. What are you even doing in there? Anyway, so there's that. The fact that soon into the post, she admits that he pressured her into sexual activity, which giant red flag. Also, when she was ending the post, she said that he was her first real boyfriend, her first kiss, her first everything, and that they've been dating for 4 months. So this was never, I don't think this was ever a good situation. There's something wrong with him, in my opinion, just based on what I know from this post. The very last line where she says, also, he vehemently denies ever cheating on me. This was the first mention of him potentially ever cheating on her in the whole post. So I don't know what that's about, but it is something to take note of. The fact that he tries to bully her and bribe her and guilt her when nothing works. This guy needs to kick rocks in the most disrespectful way possible. Let's go to the comments. Cat121 says, Hunt, 4 months is the honeymoon stage where he should have been excited to see you and is still wooing you. He's showing you who he is. Believe him. Act Signal 1823 says, girl is the side piece. 4 months, the guy's banging her at his parents' house, but she's not worthy enough to meet them. They're mere meters away from her. True. Divide by 0117 says, right at 19, he's 24. She's just something for him to stick his D in. He doesn't care about her. What's Mama Tried 22 says, what's crazy is that she says they can't have P and V sex, but I still think he's cheating for sure. Something weird is going on. If my 24-year-old tried to bring a 19-year-old girl into my house, we would have a real big problem. What I missed the part where they says they can't have P and V sex. So I don't know what that's about. Somebody else, Onion Layers 49 says 2 hours in the shower. There's something really weird going on in there. That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you even do in there for 2 hours? What the fuck? Square Blueberry says, I don't know. I reckon his long showers are him masturbatory and he's impotent, which is why it takes so long and he, quote, loses track of time for 2 hours. But hey, who really knows what he's doing? Yeah, everybody else is pretty much agreeing with that. I mean, this guy is a walking red flag, and OP, you can and will do better. Please block this guy on everything you can because he sucks. And that is my opinion on this situation. What's yours? That is all the stories we have time for today. Please let me know what you think of these stories down below in the comments. Also, if you noticed a difference, good or bad, in the audio today, please also let me know. As I mentioned in the intro, I am using a different mic. Thank you for listening, and I will see you all next time. Bye.